Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lopinder. It's good having you back with us. Not all doom and gloom on the economic front. Despite Hurricane Dorian's assault, the Bahamas is still poised to record positive growth this year, underpinned, of course, by its main industry, tourism. Here's our Ariel Bolag with what's expected moving ahead.
At this point, the blow to the economy, not as bad as some had envisioned. That's the good news. Still, Central Bank Governor John Roll is projecting a noticeable setback come 2020. And this in light of resort facilities in Abaco being absent during the peak winter season, and Grand Bahama's economy only expects to be partially recovered. An overall contraction in the economy or a flat outcome, he said, is possible.
While the rebuilding is forecasted to stimulate strong construction activity, an adequate supply of skilled labor will be essential to maximize the speed of restoration. There is nevertheless a financial resources gap given significant uninsured or underinsured families who could face a lengthier recovery process as they rely either on public assistance or have to build out of current incomes. Even as revised projections indicate that insurance payout to the private sector could exceed $1 billion, the losses most of the private sector assets could still surpass 20% of GDP, or more than $2.5 billion. Nevertheless, it is expected that the key commercial sector assets will be those that recover faster in this recovery process than the housing stock.
Now, as for the blow to the main industry, Mr. Roll says there is some way the Bahamas can limit the loss during the recovery process, and that's by attracting displaced businesses to New Providence as well as other islands not impacted by Dorian's wrath.
This opportunity is greater in the vacation rental market, as average occupancy rates were in the 50% range over the past year, giving undamaged properties room to accommodate significantly expanded business if it were attracted. There is scope, but not on the same scale, to absorb also some lost businesses from hotel properties. The economic infrastructure in the northern Bahamas should be sufficiently restored to support resumed growth in 2021.
The central bank governor's comments came during the quarterly media briefing this morning. For JCN, I'm Ariel Bolag.
Meantime, senators today had their say on several bills, including the Disaster Preparedness and Management Amendment Bill. Opposition Senator JoBeth Colby Davis taking the opportunity to lambaste the Minnis administration, charging that Hurricane Dorian exposed major failures of the country's disaster preparedness and response system.
Firstly, the response relates with confusion. Madam President, it is my assessment that key officials were not proactive in their response. The information to the public was very slow-paced and at times not forthcoming, and it appears that they were not adequately trained to handle or manage a disaster of this magnitude. Madam President, if I am brutally honest, it seems as if the government was making up things as they went along.
Defending the government was State Minister for Grand Bahama Senator Kwesi Thompson, who maintained that the monster storm's wrath transcended all that any individual would have thought.
People say that, oh, you should have been prepared for something like this. The reality is, no government could have been prepared for something like this. And thank God for the international agencies that were able to come in quickly and supplement to ensure that the people, and they worked with the government, and in some instances at the request of the government.
The F&M senator added that to say that the government was not prepared hits not only at the Minnis administration, but also the many volunteers who assisted, particularly in the aftermath of the storm, as did PLP House members. Opposition senators do not support the proposed legislation. Well, still on hurricane-related news this evening, of the 250 dorms set for Abaco, half will be used for the Family Relief Center near Spring City, and the remaining 125 for residents restoring and or repairing their homes. That according to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who says the first 40 domes are expected by mid-November and will be placed in the Spring City subdivision. The Prime Minister taking the opportunity to again make it clear that there will be no illegals in the domes.
Those are individuals who have been displaced, but if you're talking about, there will be no illegals in the domes, full stop, no illegals. All right?
Samaritan's Purse and the International Red Cross will pitch in to repair the homes of some 2,000 storm victims. According to the Prime Minister, the former is targeting 1,000 permanent homes and whole house repairs, along with 500 rapid roof repairs on Grand Bahama and Abaco in partnership with United States Agency for International Development.
This work will be done in partnership with local churches and local contractors, and will be carried out in compliance with Build Back Better principles. This program will also include working through churches to provide vouchers to local hardware stores for the most vulnerable to replace household assets.
Meantime, the International Red Cross has committed to repairing the remaining 1,000 homes that sustained minor to moderate damage. It's still assessing whether it can provide full reconstruction. It's also considering providing an additional 2,000 households for multi-purpose use. While not to be left out are farmers and fishermen, the government's considering establishing a $1.5 million loan and grant program for this group, along with those in the boating industry in the special economic recovery zones of Abaco and Grand Bahama. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.